Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can see me or hear me, but I'm Steve. Mark's around. Well, he's leaving. Say bye, Mark.
Bye, everybody!
And this is Smokey, Steve, and Mark. Either welcome or welcome back. Happy Saturday. Saturday. That's the Saturday dance. Um, wow. Wow. It says on the weather report it's snowing outside here. I gotta say, I don't think it is. Well, thank you, Mr. McPhoebe, and welcome. All is well today. All is well. We were up late last night, just doing stuff, and then you turn around and it's 2, so slept in a little bit today. Just ran out to do some errands. Otherwise, nada. So, hello, Miss McPhoebe. How are you? Starting to have some folks coming in. So, thank you for mods who may be here. This was, shorter, like the jig. um, this was a not a last minute change, but usually it's a video. Only once a month do we usually do the live, and it worked out today that a live would work great for us, and hopefully you like it too, because we are going to be checking in. We'll give it a few minutes for some folks to trickle in, but we will be discussing Foodie Beauty today in all her gloriousness, in all her prettiness, all that stuff. So, Christine, hello. 35 or 36. That's a sin because that does feel warm after all that. Hey, Tara, how are you? Starting to calendar page, Hellfire. Here they come. So, 60s and bright sunshine in Charlotte. Well, I'm very happy for you, word nerd. Very happy and very jealous at the same time. We had sleet. We had some snow at the beginning. Hi, Eileen. And then Patricia, hello. Then after that, we just had sleet. And there was like an inch of it probably on the road and sidewalks, but that was overnight. By this morning, they had sprayed and it had just melted. So, hey, LA, how are you? So it wasn't bad. Like I said, I went out earlier. The roads are just wet. You got a foot of snow, Andy. Steve, I do believe you're made to create infomercials. Well, thank you, LA. That was fun. That was different. So, yes, Mudslicker, this is our coffee talk at the moment. So we're going to, of course, catch up a little because we're in a live, but also catch up on our fair lady, Chantal. Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me, the Daily Chantal Chantopolis. Hello, Grateful. How are you? And Foodie Beauty again. So her week, she was gone for about 3 days this week. She went, not that she was gone, she didn't disappear, but she was indisposed, possibly. Patrick, 11 inches of snow, Jesus. Hey, Pink Unicorn, how are you? You're jealous of the places that get snow? Well, okay, that makes me feel like this much better. 80s here in Florida. We know, Eileen, you live in a beautiful climate. Again, jealous. So, brand new, bigger ring. The Kuwaiti Fire Department must have had to cut it off. Or something. There was no way anyone other than Superman was going to get that ring off of her finger. So, oh, you're in Mississippi, Biloxi. I drove through Mississippi once on a driving trip from Louisiana to north central Alabama, which you don't want to do when you look like this or you talk like this. It was very different, but yes. My impressions of the American South were okay. Most people are people are people. If you don't talk about religion and politics and just, be nice to each other, it's not that difficult. So, her story or the proof. Well, yeah, you live on the beach. See, that's nice too. That's nice too. So, I have my bullet points and I have my notes, but I'll say the big thing of it was that she disappeared for a few days, and then lo and behold, she's back and she's in Kuwait. And she's with Salah, who looks a little worse for the wear. You had a blizzard with thunder and lightning. I love thunder snow. Now, actually, the weather's probably shitty when you're having it, but your other profile is still blocked. Ariana, I'll go take a look at it when the live's over. Sometimes people get chalked into a pile of, I have to manually allow, for no reason. There's no rhyme or reason. It's been new people to the channel. It's been people who were here for years. It's just the way it's been. So, our fair lady is back in Kuwait, which very, very happy for her. She disappeared for a bit of time to make that transition. So that was probably one of the smarter things I think she's done in a very long time because, You know, there's people out there that get a little crazy sometimes, and that would have screwed it up for her. So she deserves, I think, to have some things be screwed up, to be frank. But I honestly wasn't sure if she was going to go back, or that if she got back, she would stay and not have to turn around at customs and go all the way back. So thanks, Pink Unicorn. I'll be doing some more of those. Hello, Marlene. How are you? Yeah, she's throwing her whole life away gladly for this person she met 4 months ago on a dating app. You know, left friends of years, family. They're only useful to her if they provide a place for her to crash, it seems like. Got rid of the car. She must have had to drive it to a dumpster. I missed some of that recap, but I can't imagine she'd get dollars, Canadian or any other, for that car. She owed quite a bit more on it than it was worth, I think. Hey, Lisa America. And the debts that are going on here in this part of the world that she's running from, except for the fact that her bankruptcies were discussed about being something that was a hindrance that could hold up the process. Ultimately, the goal isn't right now to get him to Canada. I don't think it will be. They're going to have to go somewhere else from that, because she's going to just go dodge debt for the rest of her life and coast on pretty privilege if she gets called onto the carpet for screwing over your country, leaving in the middle of it. So crap for kids must have taken her car. It's possible. Scrap would have been good. I'm sure there's a catalytic converter in there that'd be good for at least a 20 bag for her. But she wanted to have something else to do with it. So I thought maybe she'd leave it with a family member, because her family catches her when she starts to fall. And I think they've done it forever. She left it with the auntie. I'm not as thrilled about the auntie, you know. Pretty privilege. Her words, Tiger, not mine. Her words. It's in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. Though the beholder didn't look too thrilled. So the Kuwait content is not interesting to people. I don't know if anyone, well, a lot of us here are distant and critical of her, but I don't know if anyone was subscribed to their couples channel, Chantal and Saga. But that is back up and running. They had put a video up. They started going live the second she landed in Kuwait. They're in the car and they're streaming. So it was like it never left off. And that video alone didn't even get like her. It's not going to get her numbers. Nobody cares. No one wants to watch two people they don't like going through a fake relationship, doing everything there is for free in all of Kuwait. Let's go to the beach. Let's go here. Let's go there. There's nothing interesting. And she doesn't just have to have boring or drama. So expensive to pay for a fake husband. It is. It is apparently pricey. You know, when you love each other, the dowry doesn't have, like, who pays their own dowry, buys their own ring, flies all the way there? I mean, it sounds kind of like she just wanted to get married, period. And she didn't care who the hell he was. They're boring. There's nothing to see. Them driving around. And then they had a video up today. Her channel, his channel. That was just clips, deleted clips from a previous boring vlog. And these were no more interesting than they were before. So, yeah. They've done a great job of not making me want to go to Kuwait. I hear mixed things. I mean, I wouldn't feel probably safe going to some parts of the world. I have a good friend who I've known since childhood, kindergarten, who travels a ton, and he's gay, and you can kind of tell. And he's been safe pretty much everywhere he went, except there's some countries where the gay scene is entirely underground, and he was in the Middle East with that. So you got to know someone. It's like getting to a rave back in the old days. You know someone who knows someone who knows someone, because he and his friends like to work hard and they like to party hard. And in that part of the world, he wasn't able to do it easily. So, it's interesting. It's interesting. But my look from the outside in is from, I mean, Kuwait only ever got brought up in school when it related to war and nothing else. Hey, Panda, how are you? So on the ground looking around, I think the downtown looks beautiful. You partied in an Arabian gay bar? I'm fucking dead. That's awesome. That is so awesome. There's nothing else they're going to be doing, because she's going back to Miriam. Now we're putting on the Miriam face. Miriam is the modest housewife, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, gets ill from one cigarette, like Sandra D, except heavier and Muslim in dress. Otherwise, she's the full package. Prettier than 90% of us. Pretty privilege carrying her through. I don't think it was pretty privilege that got her the seating arrangement she wanted on her flight. I suspect that wasn't the case. I don't know if pretty privilege is what she used to get in the cart to get a ride from one part of the airport to another. So pretty they offered to ride? No. So heavy they off, you know. So their channel I'm not really thinking much of. I mean, it has fewer subs than it did. And what if I was a member of their couples channel? What the frig was I supposed to do for a month? Just be like, oh, just keep the 5. Oh, just keep the 20. No, it's like any other service. If I paid for HBO and they didn't run any movies for 3 days or for a month, I think I'd be interested in having my money back. You know, she says this is like a show and this is her character, but we stay out of her real life. Okay, but in her real life, she can't help. She can't help it. She can't help it. Well, rather, she can help it and chooses not to. That's probably a little better. I would think they next to her complained, but according to her, she was supposed to be in a middle seat. Why room to 3 people's trip? She was going to sit in a middle seat, but helped herself to the empty seat next to her by the window, which wasn't hers. She just helped herself to, and then stay there. So then they had to try to find an arrangement where everybody would be comfortable. Fat chance. So it held up the flight. It took longer to get there. Everything had to stop for her. I'm sure she was loving it. Absolutely loving it. She loves a fuss. She doesn't care if people like it or not. I wish somebody would have filmed it. You know how you see people with their iPhones on the plane? You know, whenever there's like someone trying to tune up a flight attendant or someone with a mask or some racist shit, there's always something like that. I'm surprised no one had a video of her holding up the whole plane because the world isn't built for folks like her. So that's just a thought. You know, and it was interesting. She had to get a ride in the airport to get from one side to another. According to her, it is impossible for pretty much anybody to do. Nobody is fit enough to pull their own luggage from one side of an airport to another. Okay, everyone you rode past was walking. Everyone you went by was walking. I have less sympathy for Chantal. I have as much sympathy for her not being able to walk as if she cut off her own legs. It was an avoidable situation. It's not because of toxins in the food or a vitamin deficiency that she's so heavy she can't do what the rest of us do. She's going to get left in the dust in life. You know, this adolescent shit isn't going to be cute over 40. People are going to expect an adult when they get into a relationship. You know, so her look at relationships, it reminds me of like a young person. Kind of like, you know, writing in her notebook, Mr. and Mrs. Sala Fakenship or whatever. So I don't think that she really puts too much, you know, thought into the adult long-term consequences. Like, she might not have put together that the money she gets from YouTube is related to her putting up content. Her even taking a few days off is a hit. And so is another flight to Kuwait. But I think money's a little tight. I think she maybe couldn't have afforded the second seat. Certainly not first class. Even Big C used to fly first class. Granted, she would go to like Vegas and stay in a shit motel. But she knew to be comfortable at 6'1" and 280 pounds, first class would be better. So she paid for the upgrade and enjoyed a nice flight. You know? It's not too much different for Chantal. But she made everyone accommodate her. Which again, I'm sure she loved the attention. And everyone has to wait for me. Everyone has to sit for me. And the disgust was probably palpable on that airplane, I would think. So keep it simple. Dom, thank you, Dom. Thank you for the sticker. Hope you're doing well. Be careful out there. It says it's snowing. I don't know if it's snowing. It says it's snowing. Now she'll be back visiting an actual outhouse, not like Canada. She couldn't use the bathroom there because it requires people to get into a position that she can't. I don't know what to tell you. Like, whatever they tell the elderly people to do. Yaba said, you want to walk around and stretch your legs after a long flight, not take a cart. That makes sense to me. And it's a very long flight. That's a hard flight if you're 110 pounds and 25. It's just a long journey to try to occupy your time, keep yourself busy, all that kind of stuff. I suspect she just got herself totally knocked out on the plane and slept most of the way there. Woke up for meals, which didn't look bad. The meal that she had didn't look too bad. So, no, blood clots. I remember, Dr. Now brought this up. He didn't want super morbidly obese patients generally flying to meet him in Houston for surgery because the risk of blood clots, thrombosis, all that kind of stuff goes up when you're carrying the weight of 2 extra people on your back, or on your front, rather. So, no, it's dangerous, but she doesn't care. And the shot of her that they took when she had just landed, it was a photo of him and her, and it was taken on Salwa, him and her, Salwa and Chantal, taken on his camera. She looks larger, surprise. She's practically purple. All you see is purple and black. And one side of her face seems to have something going on that the other doesn't. I don't know if the filters are trying to catch it, but it seems like there's like a bulbous kind of thing on part of her face. So, no insurance and no free healthcare. Yeah, what's she going to do now? She can't go to the hospital when she's upset anymore and fake sad to get a bunch of nurses to fuss over her. But I don't think that'll happen in Kuwait. For things. Yeah, I just don't think. I don't think she'll be in a third world field hospital. But I think if she goes, there will be barriers. Chantal's very entitled. She assumes everywhere she moves, someone must speak English and translate for her. I don't think she looked too much into maybe learning the language about the country she's going to be living in. Since she may not have as much say in matters as her husband, given the misogynistic nature of it, it might not be as big of an issue. But if she's anything, she's loud, opinionated, self-centered. None of that is going to reflect with Miriam. Essentially, Chantal killed Miriam for the time being. So, messed with the color. When you watch the actual video, you see it's unedited, but it's his thing. And I looked around to see a few. That's all I'm thinking is she's literally going to pop. And that's not even a comment on her weight. She looks like she's going to pop. It looks tight. It looks uncomfortable. And I don't know if any of you have ever been fat. I've been fat, like close to 300 pounds fat. So that's bigger than just drop 15 pounds after college. Pretty big. It's hard to get around. Everything is a struggle. Everything is a chore. There's nothing good about being fat. Absolutely nothing. There's no, what is there to brag about with it? And that's the reason she couldn't get around. The title of this was almost Chantal refuses to ambulate in airport because she wasn't able to do what the rest of us can do for the most part. Ventura Girl said the best estimate of BBJ. Oh yes, we did get a health update. So steering away from Chantal's laziness, we did get an update from French Fry Girl about the condition of BBJ, because BBJ, as we know, left Chantal's custody and was in the custody of a person who is related to French Fry Girl. So she has the inside track. Chantal was very upset for a while, but then realized the consequences would be that she had to get the cat back. What are you going to say? I gave away my cat to someone. Do you want it back? Well, no, I just want to give it to someone else. You don't give a shit if you're giving your cat away. So who do you care who it goes to? And there we have documented, evidence that the cat was seen, which people asked a lot. Apparently, aside from the nails being grown into the paws, there was an issue with cleaning out her ears so that she can hear. She was matted. And then when some blood work came back, there were concerns about kidneys, arthritis, some other things. Now, I can see Chantal has been saying all along, well, she put her dogs down. Putting down your animal because you've pursued treatment options and thought about their quality of life and if they're still a safe dog to have, all that kind of stuff. I'm not a dog person, but I know dog people who do know what they're talking about. So, hey, Nicole, how are you? Late's fine. Better late than pregnant. So, lost some weight after she swatched her addiction from food to drugs. A little bit of time, but a urinary tract infection. So when French Fry Girl put down her animals, I suspect it was out of compassion and concern and weighing costs, and it's not an easy decision I've seen people try to deal with. Chantal was doing it for convenience. That's very different. The cat was not, it was in her way, and French Fry Girl went out and did in one day what Chantal didn't do for 3 months. You know, you can go to like the mall and have a pet groomer take care of that. It's very little effort. And Chantal makes, you know, I'm lazy money where she probably could have got a ride or someone to come to the house. Hey, Ada, how are you? I'm just seeing some folks go by. How are y'all doing? So, no, I don't like the fact that the cat was in poor health when it was received by sister-in-law, a French fry girl. Chantal acts like that's somehow not her fault. It's that Pete's didn't take care of it. Why would you pick a person who's homebound and broke? What if something happened? Nobody else was probably willing to do it because they're sick of giving her handouts, even if it's just their time. And she left them with him so she can blame him. I was in Kuwait. What could I have done? What did you do in the 2 years before that? So, the motives for having BBJ put down differ greatly between French Fry Girl and Chantal. That's what Chantal doesn't get the difference. It's not the action, it's the intention. The intention is what betrays, you know, the thought of this is in the way. Let me get rid of everything in the way. No traces, no nothing. She probably didn't have to get this extreme to escape some debt from the government. God, get on a payment plan. No, instead we'll convert and move halfway across the world. It's not that big of a responsibility. People do the kind of grimy tax shit Chantal does a lot, unfortunately. And it happens here, it happens there. People do that kind of thing. But people don't flee the country. I don't even know, do they have an extradite kind of thing from Kuwait to Canada? It's a little extreme. And in 4 months, putting it all together, if she had an absolutely stable income, stable job, if her content was based on more than people hating her, she could maybe have something more reliable. But moving halfway around the world with a job where I've already taken a pay cut and then had to take time off to travel, and if they're only going to pull in Chantal and Salah money on the new channel, on now that they're back, they're not going to do it. He gets like 7,000 to 8,000 views on the videos. Right now, because she's back, I think she hit like a 20. Hey, welcome, welcome. I just saw your name go by. So people offered to help and she'd rather see the cats. It was a principle thing. I'd rather it die on my terms than live on yours. That was what she was doing. And so when she talks about using the cat as a prop for her show, she probably would have done it if she wasn't so lazy. She would have done cute stuff with it, but the cat was in poor health. And it was hers. Who else is supposed to be responsible? Who else is supposed to know this? And French Fry Girl makes things happen and drops receipts. So, you know, Chantal, who thinks she's just... French Fry Girl's not very smart. And I don't know French Fry Girl. But if she ended up with your cat and then Dee Dee ended up with your man, you didn't really have to ditch too much stuff. People who were more appreciative just came by and took it. Or people who were more attractive or who were better fit came and took her place. So definitely think Foodie Beauty thought she was going to get pity for putting the cat to sleep. No, it was rescued. It was saved. That is one of the sweetest moments. Because the bottom line is that sick, not sick, towards end of life, not, the cat is getting care now. And it wasn't before. She can't say she was caring for it if its hands were grown shut. And you left it in the custody of someone who has no money or way to get to a groomer. So what was Pete supposed to do? And Chantal, I'm sure, remembers when Timbit came to the house, Chantal kind of under her breath in a video, it was at the villa, didn't look too thrilled because when Timbit came to visit, Timbit needed to go to the vet because there was, if Chantal thought there were problems with Timbit, Timbit was in shit condition when arrived at the villa. And she had mentioned as much that she took it to the vet and seemed to spend more than she would have wanted to just to get Timbit back to where he could only be in one room and not be in the rest of the house. So if Timbit was taken care of by Pete's the way that BBJ does, then I'm not surprised Timbit was in poor health. And it's one thing to have a cat in poor health, but trying to do the right thing and you don't know this and you don't know that. Stupid's no excuse, but it does give a little context. But I don't think he's stupid. I think that both of them are lazy, very lazy. And if it's nothing in it for them, if he could throw treats across the room and the cats kept breathing, he assumed everything was fine. Timbit had her claws. I think AndMarc, and I think that came from Chantal. She was pretty put off by it, which makes me think at one time she did have priorities and the things she loved and cared about were more important than the things she could pretend to have in the future. Her new life, the new travel bees, all that. The money's going to run out. No one wants to watch boring travel blogs. Nobody. There's people who do more, who can share more information. You know, when I think about travel, Now I'm partial because Mark's my husband. But when he would do videos where we would travel and get the food and do that, not that she has to make it kind of Mr. Rogersy like we do, but a little more information. A lot of people probably don't know too much about Kuwait, how it became a country, what's popular in trends, not let's find a Burger King, because it makes me feel like I'm home. Whatever. The hamster. The hamster she tried to give dirty sand and dirty bedding to. The one that she got two of, a boy and a girl, played dumb. She thought it was cutesy. She didn't realize it was unhealthy. But to her, cutesy is more important. Pretty privilege, I remember. Pretty cats get to live longer. BBJ was looking raggedy. He was out. The smell of the hamster cage, the smell of the room that the hamster cage is in. I can't imagine. It's extremely hot in that part of the world. And she was there in like winter. It was probably fall weather when she was there previously. So now it's going to be different. She's going to be that bright shade of purple till she just explodes from pressure. I'm sure that she has a lot more health problems than she's saying. So the charisma and personality of an old shoe. About. And it makes me kind of like, I don't know. I used to like Chantal, but isn't that everyone's story? Who's either a reactor or a hater or former VIB? Same kind of thing. I used to like her. I used to think, yeah, she's kind of fucked up. She's definitely got some mental health problems and probably, a propensity towards addiction or something. BBJ's a girl. I just butcher the gender back and forth. I forget because I have boys, so I forget. Both of her cats were female cats. So poor little hamster breathing and living in its own waste. Yeah, but it's not about caring for something else. It's about having something else that'll make me look good. It's a prop to look caring, to look like you love animals. But picking someone you barely know to take your cat and you don't do the research and it ends up in the hands of someone you didn't like, what if that wasn't the worst thing that happened? What if you gave it to a person who killed it? Or who does things to animals for sport? Or wasn't a good person to be fit? This cat, you can hate who's taking care of the cat, but it's getting taken care of, which is more than what was happening before. There can be 1,000 reasons. I'm busy. My house was a mess because I was in a bad relationship for a year. Okay, so what? You were able to do a lot of other things that involve time. You can make yourself look pretty clean and polished up at the beginning. But, no wonder Nader didn't want to come back over. It was probably part to do with Pete's, but who wants to hang out in a filthy apartment? With grown-ups. I mean, I've seen frat houses that have looked cleaner. But, so it goes. BBJ looks better. Chantal shared a picture before she found out about who BBJ was with. She showed a picture of it in the new place, saying, look how happy and settled in and on the blanket. Then she puts up almost an identical picture after this all came out and was like, look at that disgusting smoky apartment that the baby is in. Blah, 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 blah. It was the same picture. The only difference was her attitude at looking at it. It was like a perfect example of that. Her attitude at the moment made her see totally different things. When it was about her and her making a good decision, the cat looked fine. But since she found out French Fry Girl got it, she wants to act like it's like scheduled to be drawn and quartered for live vivisection. But she didn't want the cat back, so she wasn't going to pursue it. And I don't really know where the criminal activity comes in there. She was very upset about everyone being obsessed, insane criminals. I don't know. Chantal loves Chantal. That's the bottom line, Pink Unicorn. You're exactly right. Childish defiance also. Yes, T-Dub, I agree. Hey, Marita. The defiant. I won't do it. Well, maybe I'll take him somewhere and you'll never know where he went. She likes control like that. What's funny is that she has the attitude of someone who can wield a lot of power. But then, when confronted in person, she hates French Fry Girl. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. They met in person and they were both smiling and took pictures. So what does that say to the rest of us? Damage bill for Pete's on the apartment. No security deposit. We will not be having a security deposit when they leave. I suspect I left an apartment not full of shit, but damaged, very damaged. My last year I spent in Philadelphia after college. I drank a lot. So obviously cleaning up the place wasn't a very big priority. And I was trying to get a love seat out of the apartment because the fine for leaving that was cheaper than the fine for putting it on the curb. And I ripped up an exit doing it. They kept the security deposit, and I must have been a responsible person somewhere in there because I owed another $700 after they kept the $1,200 deposit. So I owed more. But that's what it is. And it'll be in Pete's name because Pete's is signed onto it. She'll be unavailable. She'll be conveniently unavailable for a lot of things that require her to take responsibility for upcoming. No, I didn't. I got my first security deposit back 100%, but I also moved into another apartment within the same management company. So, karma from BBJ. Exactly. She talks about other people's karmas coming. How about yours right here, right now? How about this? How about no connections except some dude that we know, sort of, that we're married to or lying about being married to, sort of, and ditching a life she loves for this. She loves being impulsive. She's so used to herself that she doesn't see them as like drawbacks anymore. She's graduated to, well, this is just the way I am. If you're still an asshole, continue working on yourself till you're just a jackass instead. Yes, baby, she loves being, her version of free is I can eat what I want and no one will say anything, and I can get as stoned as I want and no one will say anything, and I can do the X, Y, and Z and no one will say anything. And everyone knows a Chantal, the person who has it coming, and you wonder if you'll live to see the end of it. I think the thing with BBJ was a good, firing shot across her nose of like, the universe is watching. And even if you're not too metaphysically, like I'm not, hey, Lydia, one way or another, you piss off the wrong person and something like this happens. So if you feel a crime was committed, pursue it. I'm sure the cops would love to come over again. They'd love to. They can wait in line between animal control and the Domino's guy. It's going to be a while coming in and out. It means a lot to her because I think free as Chantal being in the Middle East is very strange. It is, which is, there's more. More will be revealed, of course. But with Chantal and Shala's couples channel, people aren't as curious about what goes on behind the scenes as they are about, I think, Chantal's channel. Because Chantal lies and covers up and gives misinformation about very large, dramatic things. And on their couples channel, it's just boring. Like, no one wants to watch them travel around. It's not interesting. She only made $3,500 last month compared to $9,000. Hey, French Fry Girl, from what I understand, during the live where she talked about receiving BBJ, thousands in super chats. Thousands. Now, super chats are like not always a benchmark of people liking you, because Chantal can accrue a bunch of them. If she gets the right sympathy story, she'll get all the folks just like her who feel terribly misunderstood, even though they're rude and off-putting people. And they think it's everyone else's problem. So she could spend $3,500 in a day. Exactly. She does. I mean, she blows through everything. She's not 9,500 in super chats, and think YouTube gets 3,000 of it. It's, they get theirs. They get theirs off large creators. I question whether or not they turn a blind eye to some things in the interest of making their own money. But still, when we're talking in the world of YouTube, like big channels with millions of subs in all different kinds of interests, whether it's gaming or anything like that, there's not like a big popular channel like theirs out there to even copycat off of. At best, she's doing a Muslim version of Nikocado Avocado. At best. And Salah is just boring. Raise your eyebrow, take a picture. I'll laugh at whatever you say, even if you say I look like the moon. So he's been shitty to her with his comments, and she's pretending like she's in on the joke and that she's not the joke. That's hard to watch because I've done the needy, desperate, your attention validates my life thing, like I think she's doing with him. And even if he insults her, she doesn't want to believe that. She doesn't want to believe that that's part of it, I guess. Yeah, she was pissed about her money. Well, if someone can take your content and triple, quadruple what you're making on your own, well, what does she do that Chantal doesn't? She puts herself out there. She lets people comment in her chats. She's pretty open, honest, and she's talking about things people want to hear about. So even if she weren't open or honest, though I think she is, even if she weren't, she got Chantal's pets out of a bad situation. That's enough. And offered to her to not only do it, but pay for it to have it never come up. And Chantal was too defiant. I'll let it die before someone else takes care of it. Luckily, someone intervened before she had a chance. I think a lot of people thought when BBJ was going to go to the vet with Chantal, she wasn't going to leave. So BBJ is making bank. There's your star. There's your star on 2 channels, bringing in thousands for this. Thousands. Chantal would play with her cats for attention and whatnot, and it seems like French Fry Girl got the cat, and she's looking after it, and she keeps people updated, but she's not trying to use it to make herself look better. I could easily see someone looking at it that way, though, because it seems like she came in as the hero. Well, is she Superman? No. Superman was busy trying to get the ring off Chantal's finger. But she did do a good thing there. And person who was not a responsible pet owner doesn't have access to their pet anymore. It doesn't matter the intention. The cat was sick under her care, and she did nothing as far as preventative measures to take care of it. So, yeah, there'd be some hefty vet fees, but I think she can afford it. You know, everyone who makes a ton of money, usually like if their channel's just growing and they make some ridiculous, I don't know, if your dog was in trouble, your audience would do the same in support of vet care. I think, like, Chantal had really nice people reach out, offer, people who would have been a good fit, but she went for the laziest, easiest thing, did none of the homework she said she was going to do, and this is what happened. But, I mean, some people need consequences. And maybe she does. Maybe she does. To rub it in Chantal's face, but she's better than me. I know, she offered the money. I mean, it was there. Yeah, the verbal updates, because it's not the show. Chantal thinks everyone is as ill-intended and manipulative and selfish as she is. So when she sees other people doing something that gets them good attention, she assumes there's a negative, petty, selfish motive behind it. She doesn't understand that everyone's not like her. Not everyone is that self-centered. Some people do things just for the sake of being nice, not so they can tell people they did a nice thing. Doing the right thing without a lot of fanfare, the verbal pet updates, I think that's much more, I don't know, reasonable, because the more French Fry Girl would go on if she parades the cat out, look how healthy, and makes hate videos, but that's not how it seems like she's going about it. And she's just funding the obvious care that BBJ needed. And for that, for that action alone, I wouldn't say, you know, good. If Chantal's upset, she deserves to be knocked down a few pegs. And those cats weren't good in her care, and now they're not there. So, sorry, not sorry. Sorry, Brad, super sorry. Not happening. BBJ's retired now. Retired indeed, and should be. She's put enough years in with Chantal. And 3 months with Pete's, I'd want to be put down too. But I'm glad they didn't do it. And I'm glad that if something has to happen in that direction, it's out of compassion and concern, not out of property, spite. You need to get up here tomorrow and bring my cat back. No, I don't. You gave it away. No contract, no sale. You gave it away. And you didn't know you were giving it away to someone that you didn't like. But that's just gravy, honestly. Because the health of the cat, not Chantal's happiness, is what's most important. Who was I watching? I was watching some smaller channel, and they were talking about Chantal leaving her, you know, her animals. And said, it's like meeting a guy who says you don't like kids. So you get rid of your kids. I mean, a lot of kids have, of course, been pushed aside by a selfish, needy mother who wants every bit of attention she can get. That's not new. That happens. That's not unique to her situation. But Chantal had problems out the gate. So her ability to have a healthy relationship was already compromised since she started having problems as like a teen. So I don't care if she does or doesn't deliberately spun the situation to make money. Not my business. BBJ is safe, and that's what matters. All's well that ends well, you know. Thank you, Jake Blue. You have a great day, too. You, too. It's a good day. It's a Saturday. Well, it's Saturday here still. So, Susan Smith vibes. These kids are getting in the way of my happiness. Get them out, you know. And because she's interested in her feelings and her happiness and how I'm doing and what I can tolerate and what I can put up with, you know. I mean, her family easily sent her off to bad girl camp when she was acting up. Posted a pic in his skirt. Pete's? Are we talking about Pete's? Because I've seen his too. I've seen that. Pete's, by the way, as long as we touch on that, Pete's is obviously out of the villa because it's been declared a national biohazard site. It's right up there with Chernobyl. And so he's gone. Now, he's been on his own channel and he's been posting and doing stuff. He's somewhere different. I don't know where. The two of them were actually much smarter about their move than I kind of thought because, well, Chantal going back to Kuwait because nobody went snooping as hard. Last time she gave out too many details and people knew when the flight was and when she was landing and all this. Thank you, Irene. Happy to do it. She's putting herself first. There's a radical change in priorities. Shit. No public accessible healthcare for a tourist visa. She's just gonna have to deal with it. He posted his pic on Tinder looking for a date. Thing is though, like, they can't fake this relationship well either. Now the partner's only job was to pretend to love her. This was set. And you can be guaranteed it's going to be fake if you lead with your money. At least then you're guaranteed the relationship, depending on the scumminess of the guy. But if she doesn't lead with her money or with promises of loose sex, oh, it's our first date, we're going to a hotel room. There's words people use for people like that. And they're not kind sometimes. Not saying her motives are necessarily, dishonest, but she's, needy, greedy, looking for love, and anything that'll give her the promise of it, she'll go after, which means leaving behind friends, responsibilities, housing. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Bertrand. Fictional hot tub or just, I don't know. So we'll see how Pete's is doing. It doesn't seem like he's going to be doing much other than sitting in front of his computer because I don't think he's living alone. He's with folks. So, counting on Pete's and he'll be there. When she comes back, a mess, she'll go into the hospital because she's homeless. And then they'll be planning on what to do. How jealous she gets if he gets to Canada. Yeah, if he makes it to Canada and she's stuck in a Kuwaiti prison, that'd be a riot for immigration fraud. Maybe he can move in with Pete's. They're both kind of like duh pushovers a little bit. Why not? I still have more sympathy for Pete's than I do for Chantal. But if he's going to live and function in the adult world and collect a paycheck, then he's going to have to be responsible enough to live like an adult. I moved out of my parents' house when I was 18. Then I moved back because I was a raging alcoholic. Don't look surprised. And moved out into treatment centers off and on for the next 5 years. And then Mark and I have been living together since after that. Those were all good moves. It wasn't burning bridges. She doesn't have amicable parting with people that she used to be friends with. So don't you think Chantal will come for fake drama? Because I noticed even the reaction channels are getting less views. Yeah, well, there was definitely over the last few days there was. But as you go into less views, period, with content that's probably more steered towards Chantal and Salva's couples channel, which is boring, she'll see the loss of money going that way. Because no one, and people won't react to it because nobody cares. There's not much fun in reacting to Chantal going, yep, we went out today and he made me dinner and I love him. No. The cats are on regimes and being treated and relieved. Yes. These were like the only truly innocent people involved in all this were the cats, truth be told. But life would go on. I'm sure Pete's thought, what the hell am I going to do? He's fine. But no one's going to watch his channel anymore, I don't think either, because he was only interesting as far as his connection to Chantal. And by having his own channel, he's probably already found a lot of people that prefer him to Chantal, if you must. So without his connection to her, what's he going to talk about? What's interesting? She's not in the background now. She's not ripping ass in the bathroom while he's trying to record. She's not telling him to put it on mute while she tells him what she's actually doing tonight instead of just going home to read the Quran. Shit like that. The zoo? Oh my God. Yeah. I'm interested in what happens to Chantal because it's so fascinating to me that a person can kind of coast through life for this many years without any real major consequence. Now, her karma, of course, is that she's so off-putting she'll never be in love or in a relationship. Not an honest one. She's too selfish. And I know she talked about wanting to have kids with him, but she's too vain to be pregnant. Remember that from Mommy Dearest? She's too vain to be pregnant. She thinks it would probably ruin her body. So adoption would be the way they had to go, because Chantal, unfortunately, had some health problems, and children aren't an option for her to birth on her own, unless she gets a, I don't know, transplant of some sort. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. She wouldn't even take the cat to the vet. She's going to go in for an organ transplant. I don't think so. So why would Salah want her to be there? Money is a lot of people's guess. Love doesn't appear to be a motive here. Or if it is, it's not the kind of love she wants to portray. It might be a more quiet, the commitment might be the important thing to Salah, not the love necessarily. So that she would do her wifely duties, and he didn't really care if she loved it or not, as long as he was able to live comfortably. I mean, these are Pete, Chantal, and Salah are three of the laziest shits I've ever seen on TV. You know, there's plenty of energy to do things that they're individually interested in, but when they have to split time with someone else, or have to talk about someone else, or care about someone else, they don't care. Not interested. So let's see what we saw, and let's see what we got here. Bye to the villa. Pete's is in his own custody at the moment. He was released of his own recognizance. You think he's gay and tickets out of Kuwait? It wouldn't be the first time somebody did that. And I can appreciate him not wanting to live a gay life in Kuwait. I mean, come on. You know, her cheeks look like they'll explode a pimple across that arc. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for the super chat. The other thing she did, the ring was a lie. It was an open and out lie. That she said initially she left the ring in Kuwait, and then it turned into she lost it at the airport. Has anyone seen the ring? I don't have pictures right now. There's no way that was coming off her finger without being cut. She's got too big over the time. It was too swollen. I suspect she landed at the airport and looked for a medic, because after flying, full puffy hands, like things like that. And it was an ugly ring. I didn't like it, but it obviously didn't mean too much, because she told us that she lied about it and then elaborated that Salah was going to get a different lie than the rest of us, but she couldn't do it. So she came clean on a lie she didn't tell to cover a lie that she did. I don't know. But I mean, he didn't look upset. Obviously, it's not a symbol of any kind of romantic commitment, because he was like, oh, whatever. I don't care if my wife walks around with no indication that she's in a relationship at all. Because I don't think he cares. This is an arrangement. It's not this isn't based on love. Love of money, love of attention, but not love of each other. And I think maybe she thought going into this that they'd set up this arrangement, but they'd eventually fall in love. And I'm wondering if that was the Nader thing too. Let's set up stuff together and we'll work together to grow our channels. And I think she thought through the process something would develop. But they have only liked her less and taken more of her money. And the less they like her, the more she has to pay. So the longer she's with them, the more she has to pay, because the longer they don't like what they're, you know. Where's the moon tonight? You're the moon. You look like the moon. Embarrassed, put on the spot, Chantal said, my fans are going to think you're fat shaming me. He is. To your face. And you're laughing because you're embarrassed. It's embarrassing. Yeah. If my husband said like not kind things about me, and not just breaking balls and going back and forth. She doesn't seem to like him doing that, but he did. And then she tries to backtrack and say, well, actually, if you've read some really good writings from the region, it talks about she's as beautiful as the moon. He didn't say beautiful. He said moon. Let's not put words in people's mouths, okay? So he's not particularly kind to her. He rolls his eyes. He stares at the camera. It's not like he's not into her. Or if he is, he's not into being into her on camera. Possible that he's gay? Sure. Why not? And then, like I said, if he was, I would specifically, I would not blame him for wanting to get the hell out of Kuwait and maybe being a little backwards about getting out. But at the same time, even if his situation makes me a little bit sympathetic, you still can't just like break a bunch of laws because you don't feel like your world is accommodating enough to you. So she might die before she returns. Who knows? Who knows? She might. She's moving into a very different climate. The woman's lived in Canada. She's moving to Kuwait. in the summertime and spring. It's going to be bad. It's not going to be good. You know, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to her, but would I be surprised? No. He moves away from her. I do think he's gay. Now, just because a man doesn't want to touch Chantal doesn't make him gay. Let's not go overboard here. There's plenty of straight men, I'm sure, that would be just as turned off. So that doesn't necessarily mean that he's gay. But he's kind of, I don't know. People compare him to Pete's now as kind of like easy breezy, go along. And Saleh and Murad kind of made it sound like he doesn't really care about what she does. Their version of reality is that he doesn't care what she does. He just wants the relationship. He just wants the ease and convenience. Wait till he finds out that Chantal will cheat even though she's 400 pounds. She doesn't feel the neediness in that way. Like, she always convinces herself she could get another man, and that's proof of worth, proof of love. It means she's lovable if she can get a guy, paid or not, to say that he loves her. Because either she doesn't believe it or she knows none of us do. So, I don't know. It's a harder kind of thing to... Did I bring my... I did. We're towards the end of the live. It's okay. So, if he wasn't gay before, he's gay now. Watch her do that. Go into a misogynistic Middle East country and turn the guy gay. That doesn't happen. You're gay or you're not. But, you know... that doesn't mean he just might not be attracted to her just because he looks put off. Doesn't mean anything. Bibi Milan looked put off a lot. There's a video still on her channel of me eating with my annoyed boyfriend, I think is the title of it. And it's Bibi and her sitting at the table and she's smiling at the camera and he looks like he wants to be put out of his misery. So, hey Patty, how are you? Oh, good. We're getting towards the end, but thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So, you're dealing with pretty privilege the best you can. I know it must be hard for you, Mick. It's hard for me. My God. I mean, people just diving out of windows, jumping out of their cars, coming at me because they just can't stand how gorgeous I am and how pretty I am. No, I didn't pay them to say it. Wink. You don't think she ever cheated on Nader? No, I think she wanted him to think so. She wanted him to think that she could get into somebody else. But she wasn't. Men and women just won't stop staring. Oh my God, Ada, I know. They're banging down the damn door. And they're like, I'm sorry, I just can't help it. Your beauty, I'm blinded. Now, her beauty probably blinds people. But again, let's look at things differently. He doesn't, not wanting Chantal doesn't make you gay. You know, on that piece alone, no, I wouldn't ultimately decide. And my gaydar is lousy when you go out of the Western world. Like, I had a friend who went to Italy for a visit, and they said you'd be confused the whole time because all the men look gay. They can cook, they're handsome, they smell good, they're clean. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean gay. Gay at its crux has to do with who you like to sleep with and who you have relationships with. It has much less to do with that other stuff. So, blinds like bleach. We all struggle. We're going to have a support group, and we're going to talk about the struggle of being beautiful. That's what we're going to do. Because I know. You look at me and you think, oh, this teenage boy born with that body, he was bound to be a hot ticket. I know. But I don't mind being on camera because I'm only looking at myself anyway. You know someone's a bit of a narcissist if their whole filming looks like this. You guys are over here. That is me looking at myself to see if I'm making believable tears, believable gestures, things like that. You can always spot a narcissist. Or new. If you're new. I mean, God, it took me 4 months of filming stuff before I realized I was looking at me and not you. So now that I figured out how to do that, I try to, because otherwise I'm just kind of performing, for my own interest. So she didn't tell Saleh she was coming back until the last minute. Huh. Get a glimpse of my pretty privilege. They just want to get one look at me. I know, right? I had to get a security system. I look at the ring out the window and there's a line. I'm bisexual, my husband's transgender, and my gaydar sucks. No clue about others. I don't either. I used to think I knew, but I was also a smug, proud of himself 20-year-old. I have great gaydar. I could spot a gay man at the Million Man March. I wouldn't have any issue doing it. Because I was also kind of, no, our ring. The ring on our doorbell probably is a little more attractive. Steve Sahadi. Well, thank you, LA. Could you imagine being born with this body? It was bound to be hard. So whatever. So as we kind of wrap up the circuitous discussion that we're having, let me see if anything got missed that was important. Mark's easy on the eyes, too. He's got good bones. Good bones. Custody of Pete's. She was driving high once this week, or allegedly high. That's not really news, but she still does it. Now she won't be driving for a while. I don't think she will be driving in Kuwait at all. Some places in the Middle East for women, it is allowed, it isn't. But she's got this idea that, like, countries and cultures across the board, that, like, Middle East is like one country. And it's not full of culture and diversity and different experiences and things like that. So, yeah, her driving high for half an hour just to go out, and she's going to cause an accident. She will. And it'll be somebody else's fault. She could run right through a red light, T-bone someone in an intersection, kill the passenger, and she'd be like, well, well, they were in the way. I was busy. I have a lot going on right now. It's been really hard since Grandma died. Sorry, officer. No, Chantal doesn't have a lot of culture. She's very Western. She carries on like an obnoxious American. Not that Canada's too much different. I mean, the people that I've met and experienced tend to be a little more chill than some of us, but air travel without blood thinners, it's, reckless behavior. If you don't think much about your life or its worth, Ramadan, she'll leave. She'll leave the faith. Unless he's not very devout. I mean, he might be just as full of shit as she is about the importance of Islam in their lives. Aside from fix your hijab, he's kind of graduated into this idea that she can do whatever she wants as long as she wears the outfit. Because that's all it's supposed to do. She's supposed to be presenting herself as Muslim. Not actually. Nothing in the book. Nothing in the Quran. No meeting with other people of the faith to discuss tenets of it. Nope. She might as well have just put on a crucifix and pretended to be Christian, too. Not even close. None of the major faiths have tenets that Chantal would fall into and be perfectly fine. She'll pick a fight with Salah. Oh, like the migraines when they're going camping? I bet when she went to that volunteer thing for bad kids, she probably had a lot of headaches and migraines. I remember when she said they had to put their own beds together and she couldn't help because she wasn't feeling well. She gets out of tons of shit by saying she doesn't feel well. More than we see, too. She's the kind of person that will, like, text their doctor at 4 a.m. for an appointment they have the next day at 2 to let them know they're not coming. So, I hope he knows, Cindy. Oh, Cindy, by the way, email us. You won a contest. As long as you're here, I saw your name go by. We had a poll yesterday that you had entered from the Mondays with Mark contest, and I believe you won. So send me an email or a DM later today, and we'll get that hooked up. So, all right. I wish my man called me the moon. Not that her face shines like the moon. Like the red moon. Perhaps purple. Yes, you, Cindy. I saw your name go by. We pulled it was it last night we did? It was a comment below type of contest. I just noticed because I saw your name. So the ring lie, BBJ's health, we did that. You can message us on Facebook, SmokeySteveAndMarc. You can send us a message, or you could email us, SmokeySteveAndMarc@yahoo.com. Either one's good. And we'll see how we can get it out to you. It was a couple of gift cards that you won, so we'll see if you want to do it digitally or if we drop them in the mail. Okay? So, driving high, who got custody of Pete's, adios to the villa, she was traveling to Kuwait, she was driving and filming and driving erratically, she's back in Kuwait, already streamed live. The ring hole thing was bullshit. There's no trace of Miriam, I think she was in the way too, so she killed her. And we did BBJ's health. So where next? We're into next week? I don't know. It's going to be either very boring, because it's going to be a couple weeks of these. She has to make a little bit of a good impression, I think, when she goes back. So she'll be on her best behavior for a little while. But the more she can draw Salah out and be more like her, more catty, more manipulative. Say this when you're on camera. Say that when you're on camera. And all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I'm not optimistic about it, really. Am happy for BBJ. that she's in a better space. Pete's finally away from her. If he's going to do any kind of growing, it wasn't going to be there. So this could be a start of something for him if he wants it to be. It could be a totally new, fresh start, but that's on him. So we're at the hour. So, folks, thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for coming. Very much appreciated. I know it was only a few hours notice to be here, but I was glad to see that we had some folks show up, that we get a chance to talk about what's going on with her, so that as we go into next week, we have some of the information and it's not like a big missing piece. So I used to take these down private and put it back up. I'm going to leave it up, so if you started watching like 10 minutes ago at the beginning, you can still see it. So I will put it up, and probably about 20 minutes or so, it'll be good. It'll have the ads in it and all that stuff. Money, money, money! YouTube money! So that'll stay up, and we'll have it up tonight. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe. Hit the thumbs up if you're feeling like it. And thank you all. Over 500 people were here. I think that's more of the largest live. I think we had in the high 40s last time we did a live. So thank y'all for being here. Thank you, mods. Thank you, lurkers. Always make me feel special. Please do subscribe also. And we'll catch up with you tomorrow. We're going live at Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So it's just an open chat then. We'll talk about whatever we want, but it doesn't have to be on the topic of foodie beauty, of course. So thanks all for joining. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch up with y'all soon. I'll send regards for Mark and let him know y'all were asking for him, okay? So thanks. Bye.